The NFL Combine is over, which means more mock drafts for all of us. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we are doing a live mock draft for the New Orleans Saints. What do we mean by live? Is we will be going through PFF, acting as the front office, and while we're doing that, be sure to leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts on our selections and what you would like to see the Saints do at each pick. And also, subscribe to the Tracy Take and tackle that bell to get notified when new videos come out. So, Brian, let's pull this up here.
Let's
Saints
do
are
it.
on the clock at number 9. We've already gone through the first couple picks here. Luther Burden was the last pick taken by the Panthers. It's possible. I could see that
Yeah.
if they want to do. I mean, this is such a defensive line class, so that's interesting too, because that was maybe what I was going to slightly think of for the Saints here. But now that we were talking about it, looking at the Saints, I I they maybe could go offensive line here with Will Campbell, but at the same time, though, they've made some investments in that category as well. Their biggest issue
Yeah.
last year was they got hurt. To me, I'm still thinking just defense. It's just defense in what ways. Like Cam Jordan, he's getting up there in age. He is 34. If PFF could
Yeah.
update here real
He's
quick.
he's getting up there. I don't think they really have anybody across from him. They have invested a little bit in the defensive interior in the last few drafts. I know like Brian Breesy was one, a big like a first round draft pick for them. So I think that it would be interesting here to maybe talk about doing Mike Green, James Pierce Jr. Will Johnson has started to fall down some draft boards. I think that would be interesting to maybe take him here, especially you just traded Marshawn Lattimore this past offseason. So that would be one that I think would be of interest. I think you could do Will Campbell. I think he would definitely be an interior offensive lineman now after the combine. So if you want to address the guard position or maybe even kick him all the way into center, I think that would be interesting as well.
Well, so they have Eric McCoy, who is actually, I mean, he's a solid center. His
Yeah.
issue is he just got hurt last year. His injury actually in week 3 against the Eagles was kind of the start of the just
The
borderline epic injury train the Saints went on last year. So I'm thinking more the defensive side of the ball. To me, I mean, they could improve on the defensive tackles. Brian Breesy hasn't really panned out as well, so they want to go Kenneth Grant. I'm leaning more towards like I think Mike Green is too small for them. They might go James Pierce Jr. Let's I'm between James Pierce Jr. and Kenneth Grant. Since I'm the Falcons fan,
you make
I
the
really
pick.
like Kenneth Grant. I
All
think
right, let's
Kenneth Grant
do.
will come in. If you're still gonna have Cam Jordan there, you can go get edge rushers later on. James Pierce
Yeah.
Jr. has been falling a little bit, all things considered, but I don't think you can go wrong with the defensive line guys there. I think Mike Green is just not the type of guy. And even too there, if we want to double dip
Uh,
at Nick Gordon,
Honestly,
um,
that's what I was just about to say. I'm totally fine taking Nick Gordon here. You get a defensive interior guy, you go get an edge rusher. I think that is a solid draft, and then you still have two more day 2 picks to address another wide receiver if you want. Go get a tight end or maybe an offensive lineman. I will just
so
kind of have to see.
let's quickly just talk about though these next because secondary is also going to be another guy as well. So Xavier Watts, Maxwell Harrison, Nick Armanwari, Siobhan Ravel. You have Princely Uman Mielen, but I think he's going to be more that outside linebacker type guy.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, let's do it. Let's double dip on the defensive line here. I think the Saints
yeah.
really need it. I know you just got Kellen Moore and he's going to be wanting some gadgets, but I think I think to your point, I think they can go get some gadgets here with their next couple of picks. So they got 2 more picks in day 2.
Yeah, no, and I think too they need it desperately. You like you said, this offensive line got injured. That defensive line is getting older or underperforming. And look at that, Donovan Jackson is here at 71. If they want to go with an offensive lineman, Terrence Ferguson lit up the combine. Mason Taylor is there as well at 71. Um, so if they want to go with a tight end, I feel like that is of interest. Who are the wide receivers on the board right
I think
now?
most of the Jalen Royals, Savion Williams, they're all still
Yeah,
there. Tez Johnson, Isaiah Bond. Because
Jalen
really, oh, go ahead.
Jalen Knoll is a name we haven't really talked a lot about. He's a former track star. He was the slot receiver at Iowa State there while kind of Jaden Higgins played the outside. Really good receiver. Has a lot of speed. I know that they like that down there in New Orleans as well. That's a name we haven't done yet in this draft series. So I think that would be of interest as well if you want to go that route.
Okay. Okay. So I'm between either one of those top 2 or 3 receivers or Mason Taylor because also too Juwan Johnson. is a free agent as well. They do have Foster
Mhm.
Moreau, but that could be an area that they can improve on. Let's actually go. Let's go with your favorite receiver. Because if you look at this team, they really just have Chris Olave. I know people are going to say
Okay.
the future heat, and I think he
Let
fits out well, but they can improve on that receiver position.
let's do Jalen Noel. We haven't taken that name yet in this series, and I feel like this is about where he will probably go. So I like
Okay.
that one. I will say the other name that I was thinking would be Ty Felton. But with that being said, Noel is bigger. He's about 200 pounds, whereas Felton is like 180. And
I
he's
do
not up
actually.
here, but this is about where he's going to go.
I do like Ty Felton though too. I Let's go Jalen Noel. Let's not worry about
Okay,
this. Yeah, yeah. Even though Ty Felton is ranked 200th on PFF, which is not
which
true.
is
That is
insane.
100%. That's not true
Yeah,
at all. Yeah.
yeah. But
So
here we
put
go.
it
Let's look.
here. So
Um,
wide Milam Jalen Milrow taking the pick right before that actually would have been interesting to go. Well, no, they have Spencer Rattler.
They
So
have Spencer Rattler. That kind of was their developmental pick, I think, for that quarterback position.
I think they should
Th-
run with it too. To be completely
yeah,
honest.
I liked him a lot, but I think too maybe they have a bunch of like day 3 picks. Maybe at like 185 or 254, we can take a Tyler Shuck or another Toolsy guy later on day 3. But
Yeah.
now, I mean, Harold Fannin Jr. might be their type of tight end. Well, with that being said, they're bringing in Kellen Moore, who I think traditionally you look like Jake Ferguson was successful in his system. Now Dallas Goddard was successful in his system as well. So I guess he likes more of that inline tight end, where Harold Fannin is a glorified slot receiver at this point.
Yeah. To me, when I'm looking here at the Saints because we've double dipped on the defensive line. I and then we've got a receiver as well, but he's more of a slot receiver. It's a, you maybe could double dip at receiver again because I think you just need more positions there. I think secondary is a spot that is vulnerable, um,
Would you
but
consider
also
Gunnar Helm? Would
that's
this be
that. I think that would be an interesting one too because he would be that more traditional tight end. I think that could be someone
yeah.
that they could lean on as well. What other? Let's quickly check here. What corners are available?
Dorian Strong, Jacob Parrish, Kobe Bryant, Mello Dotson, Noah Williams. These guys
A
right
lot of these
here,
guys are going to be
uh,
available still.
yeah, I think are going to be available around 111. I think that top of the fourth round is going to be the tier where these guys really start to come off the board.
Okay.
So,
Let's go
uh,
Gunnar Helm. I
okay,
like that. And then I think with that 111 pick, let's go corner here because there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be available that the Saints can utilize.
okay. I did see a couple guys went off the board there. You see Kobe Bryant, Jacob Parrish went. I think that might be it. Yeah, those are the only two. So there are a few other guys um, in that cornerback spot. Mello Dotson is a name we haven't taken yet. Zy Alexander is another one. They're all kind of in that same tier for me.
Well, and so that's looking at the Saints roster as of right now. I'll have to see what moves they end up making. And I have heard rumors that potentially Tyrann Mathieu might be a guy that gets traded just because of his
Mhm.
age and they're trying to clear up some cap space. But Paulson Adebo's a free agent, but he's also coming off a pretty serious leg injury as well. Will Harris, their strong safety, he is a free agent also. And then you go look at the other depth that they have there. I mean, they drafted Kool-Aid last year. They have Alontae Taylor as their nickel corner. Both those guys are still in rookie contracts. Everybody else, outside of those guys, I guess they have Jordan Howden as well too, who played pretty solid all things considered. So I'm indifferent between Makuba, Mello Dotson, Noel Williams. I think any of these guys that you're feeling is going to be the one that the Saints are going to end up taking.
Let's go Mukuba because it sounds like they have a few outside corners, and that's what a lot of these guys are is like more outside corners. So let's go Mukuba and get a versatile safety to kind of go and maybe replace some of these guys that might leave in free agency.
Okay, okay, that works with me.
Okay. And then just while that's ticking down, let's do a quick recap. So we got Kenneth Grant, Nick Scorton, double dipped on that defensive line. Since then, Jalen Noel, wide receiver, Gunnar Helm, tight end, Andrew Mukuba, safety. Um, Here at pick 130, what are you feeling? Do you think we should address the offensive line at this point? Do you
Yeah,
think
I'm looking at Willie Lumpkin there. I think that'd be interesting. I think another one though too is just looking at the just defense as a whole. I do see guys like my PFF is going slow. Let me see this. How do they get to Mario Davis? Because Mario Davis has been there for a little
Yeah,
while.
he's in his 30s now too, I think.
Yeah, he just had a birthday in January. He's 36. So linebacker could be a position here as well that I think they could end up addressing here. They do have Fred Warner. No, sorry, they have Pete Warner. Very no
Big
relation.
difference.
Yeah, no relation to Fred Warner.
Yeah. You
But
want
go
you want to
ahead.
snag Jack Kaiser here, the linebacker from Notre Dame, and then we can maybe address interior offensive line a little bit later. I just think at this point you have Willie Lampkin and then a bunch of other guys kind of down here that are
Well, and about where
later
their
day 3
next
guys.
pick is, they're picking at 186. So there's going to be some time.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's go Jack Kaiser here.
Okay.
I think let's do that because so we would have touched on some weapons because they are good in the running back room. With
Mhm.
Alvin Kamara still on contract, you got Kendre Miller as well. They're probably going to release Jamal Williams, but then they addressed the receiver spot, got it a tight end. They've double dipped on the defensive line. Now we've hit each area of the defense as well. And so here, let's see what offensive line. I think Jack Nelson actually at that right tackle spot would be very interesting.
Yeah,
Uh,
he can honestly probably play all 5 positions on the offensive line. He's a 3 or 4 year starter there at Wisconsin. He's played left tackle the most. Some people think he's gonna kick into guard due to lack of athleticism. I think that would be interesting. Who are more of the true guys? Um, Miles Frazier would be an interesting one. Dylan Fairchild. Clay Webb is a guy that was recruited by Georgia, but then ended up committing to Jacksonville State because I think he had some off the field issues.
mhm.
And so he ended up going down there, but still a really talented player, showed out well at the Senior Bowl. Um, yeah, I mean, it's really kind of your whatever your flavor is.
So they had Felice Fuaga, and so they
Mhm.
have addressed that. He's in the left tackle spot. Trevor Penning, as of right now, is the right tackle, but they also still have Ryan Ramczyk there. So to me, I think it would maybe be something focused on the interior, as they have several guys that are also hitting free agency as well. So I would focus on a guy. Let's do Miles Frazier.
Okay.
I think him, Jackson Slater, Jake Majors, I think all could be guys that you can move around that interior.
Yeah, no, and I like that pick. He was solid on that interior there for LSU in between those 2 tackles. So especially too at this point, you're more drafting traits that you like, and more just kind of getting guys that can come in and fill out the bottom end of your roster. And I feel like Miles Frazier can do that, and then potentially have some potential to actually develop into a starter.
Yeah. Yeah. So here with the last pick, let's try and figure out somebody here. Maybe we haven't officially done cornerback, have we, though? That's the
No, we
one
haven't.
thing. That's the one thing we haven't really done here. We could do Muhammad, BJ Adams, Mac McWilliams. So that's
How
the
big
maybe
is Mac
the one
McWilliams?
thing.
He's gonna be a slot corner at the next level.
Well, they have Alante Taylor there too, so they'd be looking for an outside guy, I think.
Okay.
So I think would that be Muhammad? Or would that be Simmons?
No, Muhammad is a slot corner. Shamari Simmons might be he could probably play on the outside. He'll probably have some good versatility. And I'm trying to think of BJ Adams. Definitely on the outside at 6'3".
Okay, so let's do that route. I think that's what they would end up needing more.
BJ
Uh,
Adams.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
So
right.
that's the one thing with the Saints draft. I think it'd be, I think, and they only have 8 picks, but it's how could they address that secondary maybe a little bit sooner. And they did get Andrew Makuba, but maybe instead of going him there, maybe we go Noel Williams in that aspect. And then you can drop back and get safety later on. But in general, though, it's like they need to, all teams need to be good in the trenches. And so they beefed up that defensive line trenches. I like Saints offensive line when healthy. Their just issue
Yeah.
was it was just absolute roadkill last year as soon as Eric McCoy got hurt. And then it felt like everybody else just kept getting hurt on top of that. Not even on the offensive line, just as a team as a whole. So I think
Yeah.
if healthy, this team could be something when it comes to just offensive line production.
Yeah, and I also think too, you go look a good offensive mind like Kellen Moore, he's going to and scheme up plays. He's also going to take some pressure off this offensive line uh, if it's not fully healthy. Whereas when you have a defensive minded head coach like Dennis Allen or who was the interim guy, um,
I know who you're talking about.
yeah, I can't think of it. But after that, he was also a defensive minded guy. So Riz, Darren Rizzi, I think.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
but
He had
I
players liked him. He had the Riz.
Yeah, but so I feel like that going and strengthening up, that defensive line, hopefully this offensive line can stay healthy in 2025, and then you get some young playmakers there in that late day 2 to kinda come in and maybe make an impact. So I like this draft a lot for the Saints. Let's go ahead, let's wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you thought of this Saints 7-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.